No matter how big or small, behind every business are people.
This is brilliant. I really truly believe that I have some of the best clients out here on Long Island.
Lisa Mirable makes sharing their stories her business.
Talking with the people that I work with so closely every day and how phenomenal I think they are, and then sharing them with everyone else is really special.
This is Marketing That Moves You from Vertigo Media Group.
Every week we're going to learn a little bit more from some amazing people.
With your host, Lisa Mirable, heard right here on WMAP, the world's most amazing people.
I'm Lisa Mirable with Vertigo Media Group, and this is Marketing That Moves You. And I'm here today with a great guest. I have Bill Baylis. Bill Baylis and I have known each other for a while, and I am so excited to have him because he does something I think that all of our companies need. I mean, if you're a small business here on Long Island or a family-run business on Long Island or even outside of Long Island, you need to hear this because Bill is a new business development person. And you want to know the name of his company? It's just perfect. The Business Development Machine. And I think that that says so much. I don't know who couldn't use a business development machine in their company. People often ask me, why Vertigo, right? And I always say to them, well, it's an intriguing name, isn't it? It is. 360 degrees of branding that just doesn't stop, creates this circle, a never-ending circle that just keeps going and going. And when you look at Vertigo, that's what it is. But Bill has created quite a name for himself, and he has quite a bit of clients and expertise within the business development industry, and I want him to share his knowledge with you. So let's listen up. Bill, nice to have you today.
How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing great.
I cannot wait to get started. I love talking about business development. And if I'm not talking about it on a podcast or something, I'm talking about with my wife. So she's real happy that I'm focused on today. I won't be bothering her.
I'm sure she is. That's right. So tell me, Bill. Bill and I actually share a client. We've been sharing this client, so I got to see firsthand how great he is at what he does. And how you actually lead your client, which is really exciting to me because you nurture, I've seen you nurture him. I've seen you guide him without being too intrusive and working with him to really develop his own skills, right? But I know that that's not just all that you do. So take me into why the business development machine?
Well, I mean, one of the things that most people should understand is that business should actually run as smooth and as functional as one of those machines. I mean, I'm young, I'm old enough to have grown up in the 70s and 80s, and I can still hear those muscle cars purring at a red light. Is your business purring like that? It should be.
That's right. That's right. I grew up in the same era, so I guess we're around the same age. And you know what? I actually had a conversation with someone this morning that you bring up a good point, right? A business owner wants to be able to step away and know that their business is going to be able to run like a full functioning machine, right? It doesn't need us to be involved every single minute of the day. And it gives you that freedom to be with your family, the freedom to do what you want. And I think that it's something that every small business owner kind of strives for, but we get ourselves into this niche that maybe it's ego. I don't know what it is, but like it couldn't possibly run without me. And I think that that's why it's so valuable to have someone like yourself educate us and you know, take the stress away, help us take the stress out of it. So,
well, I'm going to just take a quick second because I don't really think it's ego or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure where they teach the process of running your business that's controlled and profitable. Everybody knows how to start that business, but rarely does a business owner find the exact, and I want you to know this having a controlled business, a business you can get away from, a business that is run profitably, that's a process. And the secret that other business owners find who are able to do it, it's a driven process.
Tell me a little bit about that process, because you know it's so interesting because there's so many different ways to look at that one statement that you just had, right? Tell me about your process.
My process has a lot to do with understanding this one idea. Well, it's kind of an idea that I have, that you have a choice as a business owner. And and I do have to admit, I see a lot more business owners allowing business to happen to them,
Right, right.
going out there and getting more than their fair share. And I believe business is about what you do when you make it happen for you. And that's a process driven approach to building your business. And one of the things I've learned, it's easy when you know how.
So it's hard, right? You get caught up in that day to day. You're addicted to your own behavior. You just keep going, right? You're on autopilot. It's hard to pull yourself out and have that pause to get that holistic view, to understand where you're really going. I know that I had suffered from that and, and looked actually to you for some help and guidance. And I'm excited about the work that we're doing together with Vertigo and helping me understand that a little bit more. So I want you to explain that process a little more, because I think it's important for us to be able to pull ourselves out of that day to day. And how do we stop? Because we do get so involved. You walk in the door and all of a sudden you're consumed. It's like a vacuum, right? It sucks you right in, and you just turn to what you know and what you've done. How do you coach your client to kind of have that pause?
Well, the first thing I try to help them understand, or I look to have them understand, is that, yep, all these business owners, and by the way, my experience, which I'm sure I'll share in a little bit, being in a family-based business, yeah, you come walking in the door and there's tons of fires and dragons to slay and so on. And you get hooked up into that whirlwind. And I've been there and I know it. One of the things I've come to learn is that a lot of that is a choice, is the decision that we make to allow our business to control us, rather than learning the process of controlling the business and having it work for you.
So you had your own family business. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. This is a real great entrepreneurial story. And I was about 17 or 18 years old. And my father and I and some of my family, we started a medical billing business. And we started this medical billing business on a kitchen table. Literally grew that company over 20 or 25 years to where we were 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And
from your kitchen table.
What I bring to the table is understanding all the mistakes I've made in those 25 years, the millions of dollars of mistakes. And it's a really great story, but that's what's driven me to do what I do today, because I remember all those mistakes, and I've learned that a lot of them could have been prevented if I understood the process of building a controlled, profitable business.
So you mentioned controlled, right? It's hard to have control when you're walking in. It's hard to have control when you're walking in the door and you're slaying dragons, right? How are you controlling everything outside of slaying dragons? I'm not that good at multitasking. So tell me about the slaying dragons aspect.
Well, I mean, a lot of that winds up happening because of how the entrepreneurial experience starts in the first place. Have an idea, whoever, I'm sure whoever the business owners and CPAs that are listening in today, they had their idea, and what did they do? I kind of picture it this way, Lisa, kind of like you're an entrepreneur and you're sitting maybe on the side of a pool, and you started going to the high diving board, and you walk to the top, and this is what I call the entrepreneurial plunge.
Okay.
Walk to that diving board. They without thinking about much, they just go running and they jump off that high diving board. I see them doing flips, and if you're old enough to know what the triple Lindy is from Rodney Dangerfield, they're flipping around. That's the entrepreneurial plunge. What winds up happening, Lisa, is that they didn't realize they didn't know how to swim. And that happens to a lot more business owners who are going to actually admit it. I can admit it. I mean, I was running that business and we were like $15-20 million company in one day. And yeah, it really felt like I didn't know what I was doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I can say that from my own experience. My parents were, pretty much blue collar workers. My father had a very successful business, but it's very different than my business, right? Which is marketing. So when it comes to growth and strategy, I often find myself turning to books, right? Turning to books, looking for some kind of guidance, but it's very difficult to read, put into practice what you've read, and to be cognizant enough or awake enough, right? Awake to have that pause to put and remind yourself of what you read and how to put that into practice when you're slaying dragons, right? So having someone like yourself, I think, is extremely valuable for any company that wants to hit growth. Also, I think there also comes a point where you've grown, you've done okay, and then you're like, now what? I don't want to stop growing. I don't want to, what's next for me? How do I get there? And this is something, so I'm 51 now, right? I'm 51 and I'm thinking about, okay, my kids are now out of the house. I have an opportunity to really take what I have right now and grow it, right? Make it explode. I need that guidance. I need that help. I find, I think much like many business owners, how do I get to that next step with still having everything else that's been running and working well continue to run and work well while I separate myself to get to the next step, right?
You just said that because what you actually just did was identify my ideal client.
That's great.
My ideal client is the client who, and by the way, they usually family-based businesses.
Okay.
And I work very closely with CPA firms. That's important because you can't run business without the numbers. And I believe every business owner needs to have the right kind of CPA, not any CPA, the right kind of CPA who's willing to give you the good advice to help you understand your numbers. However, you describing yourself as a business owner who I call that, you kind of hit what I call the entrepreneurial's Peters principle. And Peters principle was a book that my father used to tell me a lot about. It was written in the 1970s, and I'll give you my overview. Peters principle is the idea of a corporate world person that you rise through the ranks to your incompetence.
Great. I think you kind of gave me a compliment, but it's awesome.
I don't think that works that way in the business world, but I do feel that business owners rise to the level of their comfort.
Okay.
I call this entrepreneurial's principle.
Sure.
That business owners they run. But by the way, I see it because I've experienced it. I watched it firsthand with my dad, and I've been a part of it. That the business owner takes on that business after they figure out how to get out of that pool. They take on that business, and they're always willing to put on the heaviest backpack. So after good 4, 5, maybe 10, who knows, 20 years, however long you can stand it, all of a sudden you realize that backpack's on you.
Yeah, getting heavy. Heavy load.
You get a chance to unpack it and say, how do I start doing things make my life easier? That's a quick understanding of my ideal client who's gone. I've worked with startups, and only because the person itself have a very unique quality in themselves that they already know. Well, they know where they are. They know that running a business isn't easy. So I work specifically with a client that knows they hit that entrepreneurial Peters principle, and they're brave enough to say, what do I do next?
Yeah.
And that kind of drives me a little bit. I know a lot of times a lot of people ask me what my passion is, and my passion is really having the same conversation I wish somebody had with me and my dad about 20 years ago.
Yeah,
That
sure.
I wish somebody helped me understand that congratulations, your business has some success, but what's next?
You know, it is an exciting time.
Stagnation is not a good thing.
No, stagnation will kill you, right?
Growth mode isn't the end all.
No.
Lisa, I talk to business owners all the time, and one of the first things they always say to me, hey, I just say, hey, how's your business doing? And they're so proud, and they say something like, we're growing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've learned, Lisa, that growing is very important, but growing gives you this feeling that you can keep growing forever. And when you continue, and you don't have that look of optimizing it, tweaking it, making better, because you always think that, oh, there's more growth, but then there's a lot of waste during that time.
Sure. And profit are not the same thing. And I think that that's an important point, right? We all want the profitability aspect of the business. That's what, well, I think we all do. I mean, I know that I can speak for myself. The profitability aspect and growth are not the same thing, right? You would assume.
From
Right?
a business owner, they say, I want profits. That's the magic. They want that. Yeah.
Now, you sent me a video a while ago, which I loved, right? And we've talked about it, which is the pre-exit strategy video. It doesn't mean that I'm ready to retire, everyone, so don't get too excited because I'm not leaving or going anywhere. But this pre-exit strategy video allows you to think about where you're going.
I came up and coined that phrase pre-exit strategy on purpose because, Lisa, again, you did it perfectly for me. Business owners, and I know if I said the word to you, exit strategy,
Right, I think I'm leaving.
they start going wild and they say, don't compute, I'm not ready to sell.
Right.
Don't you think that one day you're going to have to sell?
I do. I think that one day I would like to sell because I don't have a legacy who will take over and run through. But even if I did have a legacy, this pre-exit strategy video that I know you're going to talk about sets it up perfectly for the next person in charge, whether it be an employee that may take over, if it's not, necessarily a family member or some kind of sale. But it's really the next step in setting yourself up as a business owner. So why don't you tell us?
So if I could just let go of exit strategy, and I'll circle back to that in a second, the secret to exiting your business is understanding something. Running your business so you have more control of it. Running your business so it has less day-to-day burden of management. Running your business so there's more profits in it and very easy to run is the same exact process you need to do to ready your business to sell for top dollar.
Yeah, sure.
Doesn't it make sense to do both at the same time?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And that's what I loved about it. When I watched it, I should say, because it's a video. Okay. So when I watched the video, it talked about that leak of profitability and how we often miss it. We all know it's happening, right? I know it's happening in a lot of my clients' businesses that I look at just from a marketing standpoint. I have to learn their business. I have to understand their systems and their service and what they're providing so that I can speak about it. But in doing so, I can identify even where there may be some profit loss because I'm looking at the sales cycle. I'm looking at the amount of money that's being brought in. I'm looking at how much we're spending as opposed. So I get involved in a little bit of that aspect when planning the budgets, right? So I can see the leak. So if I think that it would be silly for me to think that my clients have leak and I don't, right? I can see that I definitely suffer from the same thing. So you speaking about that, again, it gives you that pause to understand that there is a process that can help to identify them, because I don't know where they are and just know that it's happening, right? I know it's happening, but can I clearly identify them? That's very important. And then to get ourselves in a place where we're able, to function without having that profitability, to be a healthier company, to raise the level, allows us to grow even more, which you brought up the idea of growth, right? And growth and profitability not being the same. So having that ability to plug those holes before you grow in that pre-exit strategy is what I think is so intriguing about that whole concept.
If you want more incentive, and I'm sorry to say this on accident to Lisa, because I do believe marketing is important. Sales is important to a business. However, one of the things I've learned, dollar for dollar, when you market something, a dollar, a figure, an expense is attached to that. So in best case scenario, you market yourself and 75% of that dollar can drop down. It could be 65 cents, something 50 cents. I don't know, depending on your business, what you're trying to market for. Sometimes marketing can get expensive.
Yes.
And that's something that every business owner should understand, that there's something attached. When just say you're going to grow your business through marketing, there is an expense to it. When I fix a profit leak in a business, when I help a business become more functional, dollar for dollar, that drops right down to the bottom line.
That's right.
That is something I really like. Growing businesses, and businesses have been in business for 5 to 10 years or more, need to understand that probably now is the time to leverage your business and start looking at the functionality of your business. And probably, I'm going to guess pretty sure that most business owners start their business while they're in their 40s, maybe 50s. And if you've already ran your business for about 5 to 10 years or more, I mean, I'm sorry to say that, or maybe I'm happy to say that retirement, or slowing down at least, is something you're going to want to do in the next couple of years. And are you ready? And do you know how to do it?
Well, all I could say is I wish I did meet you 5 years ago. Right? I bet you hear that a lot.
Yeah. And I picture it too, because I wish I met myself a long time ago. My story would have been different. My bank account would have been different. Because Lisa, I want to tell you this. Try to picture this: for every $1 million of a business here. So that's top line sales of, I'm not really a top line salesperson, but this is a good example. Let's take a $5 million business, a $3 million business, 20. We were a $20 million business, and I'm sorry to say we were run like a mom and pop shop. So it hurts me more when I tell this story. But take that $10 million business, so you have a good number to run. What I've learned, if you're not running that business controlled and profitable, a $10 million business has 10% at least, bare minimum, of profit leaks. That's $1 million of profit leaks. And I've found usually, and I know this for a fact, I've looked in many businesses, it's usually 20%, 30% or more in profit leaks.
Really?
So rather than going out trying to find the next client, if they focused on their business, that's where the money is. That's where the veins of gold are. It's right in your own business and getting it to run controlled and profitable.
So are there any last words or pieces of advice that you may give to our audience today?
Absolutely. Business owners and CPAs who serve the family-based businesses like I do, I want you to understand one thing. I've learned something, that there's only one place that you can guarantee a return for investment, and that's in your own business. Just try to think about this for a second, Lisa. If a financial advisor walked in the door and said, give me $10,000, give me $20,000, I guarantee an investment, they're going to jail.
Yeah, sure.
But I do know the one place where I can guarantee an investment, and that's in yourselves, business owners and CPAs. The investment in yourself. The investment in turning yourself from a business owner who has a business that's controlling them and becoming a real business owner who's completely in control of their business. So it runs controlled, it runs profitable. That's the greatest investment you can make for yourself and your family and maybe your retirement.
Well, that's gold right there. And that's a great piece of little nugget that you could share. I thought that was awesome. Well, thank you, Bill, from the Business Development Machine. He's going to make all of our businesses run like a well-oiled machine so we can have a little less stress, right?
That's right.
So, Bill, how do we get in touch with you?
I mean, that's the name of the website. It's businessdevelopmentmachine.com. And one of the things I'd like you to come to the website, one of the things I have is a simple three questions about your business that every business owner should know. Just come to the site. You'll learn a little bit about me, but mostly it's about you learning about you and your business and where you are, and take that 3-question survey and regardless, let me know what you think of it. I'm kind of interested.
Well, that was a great podcast. Honestly, I learned so much. And every time I talk to you, I get these little bits of nuggets of information. And it really does just reinvigorate my passion for my own business. So thank you, Bill. It's a great reminder. Thank you so much. So again, audience, if you'd like to get in touch with Bill, reach out to him via web. It's businessdevelopmentmachine.com. He has a quick survey up there, a couple of questions, really quick and easy for you to answer, but give it some thought and you won't be sorry. All right. Thanks, Bill, so much. I'll see you soon. All right. Thank you, audience. Bye-bye.